You want more on the Avs? You got it.
Honestly, does it really matter right now?
That's the problem, right?
No, just about anybody can get in front of a microphone and talk about hockey. How on earth do you get involved in something like this?
It was kind of a fluke.
It's funny that this podcast is going off the rails so quickly.
This is From the Cheap Seats, an Avalanche fan podcast from 9 News. Seated in the conference room, here are your hosts, Steve Stager and Jeff Sautel.
So do we call this episode 24?
Maybe put a little asterisk next to it, maybe?
Like a bad record in the record books or
Yeah.
something? Hi, everyone. Sorry we were off for a week. We have a really good excuse for that,
That surprisingly does not involve a trip to Europe.
which we posted on the Twitter account. And anyone who was watching the Twitter account thought that Jeff and I just went off to go pub hopping in London.
Which sounds fun,
It
but
does. In fact, my favorite story from all that is our seatmate in the cheap seats, the guy who owns the 2 season tickets next to us, goes, "Hey, so which one of you guys was in London?" Christian was so confused, and I had to tell him, no, it was a joke. That actually wasn't a picture of us in London.
I mean, our heads were on little cartoon bodies.
Yeah. And
That's
they were
close.
giant heads on little cartoon bodies. I like that you photoshopped yourself as the woman. of the
It
couple.
came up as an entertaining looking clip art, and I just said, what they?
You know, we travel like we're spouses when we go on these hockey trips anyway. So, I mean, that's pretty much the way it works out. We did record a show last week. We got a little opinionated,
Just a little.
and I was tired. And we got to the end of it, and I said, and it's the end of my week when we tape these shows, and I said, maybe we should show that to the boss.
Which we usually don't do.
So we showed it to the boss, and she was like, it's pretty good, but I don't know about some of the things that you said. And I mean, not that it was like inappropriate or anything,
No, but
but it was opinionated.
very much so.
We had some things to say. So we'll just say that one's going to be tucked away in the vault.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody will release it someday. But from now on, we're going to call this one episode 24, and we're going to welcome you into the cheap seat. So it's good to have you. Steve Stager, Jeff Sautel. We are inside the green room at 9 News, where in just a few minutes, you're going to hear from the man who is the inspiration, or not inspiration, the creator, I should say, of some of the best fan songs about the Colorado Avalanche that are in existence. I don't know if there are any other fan songs. I don't think there are.
But I guarantee you've heard them.
You've heard the Mikko Rantanen song. You heard us play Gabe Landeskog, the Gabe Landeskog
To Gabe
song.
Landeskog.
Hampus Liedman is in town in Denver, and he's going to join us in this studio in just a few minutes, and we're excited to chat with him. We took the hiatus. One thing that we didn't mention, and I'm just curious. I'm just going to throw this out there, and I'm not going to throw an opinion on it.
I was about to say, is next week going to be episode 24 again?
I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not going to throw an opinion on it. I'm just curious. And email us, cheapseats@9news.com, or use Twitter @9cheapseats. Did anyone else's season tickets go up quite a bit? Just wondering.
Just a little.
Just curious. I found out last week that our ticket broker listens to this show because she saw the commercial, which I also found out that the beer vendor at last night's game was like, "You're the cheap seats guy." I was like, "Oh, you listen to the show?" He goes, "No, I just see that commercial running over and over and over and over and over again."
It does run a fair
It
bit.
runs a lot. I think I anchored a show here, and it ran in every break. So I don't know if the station's just super supportive of us, but it's a good
finally,
thing.
we're going to commercial. I don't have to watch Steve Stager anymore. Oh, God, there he is again.
Yes. There's one point I was talking, and then I came out on camera like to do a read back in the show, and I think I said something like, "That's a mighty fine sounding podcast." Welcome back. In other news now. But anyway, hockey gets interesting this weekend with the Stadium Series. In fact, we're going to release this episode a day before it. Have you seen the forecast?
I've skimmed. What's the latest?
It's going to be a whole lot different than the Coors Field game.
Oh, good.
The Coors Field game was a February night here, and it was in the 60s, and it was windy, and there was cotton
I was
blowing
about to say,
all
the
over
wind
the place.
made it.
The only time you'll ever see cotton blowing all over Denver was at the Stadium Series game at Coors Field because the fake snow that they stapled to the ground
Was not stapled well enough.
And some like 30-mile-an-hour winds began to pick up pieces of the snow in one of the most poetic and amazing scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Spectacular.
It was watching the NHL folks go out there and staple pieces of cotton back to the ground was one of my favorite things.
And they were doing a
time.
great job in the circumstances. But it
They
was just
were.
so funny to watch them
They were.
jumping around trying to catch the stuff in the air.
All that was missing was Yakety Sax, the Benny Hill song playing as they were literally about to bump into each other.
I don't think we legally can do that, but if someone else would like to post that on YouTube, we would very much enjoy it.
I got to look into the right stuff. We got to be able to play more of that stuff every now and then. Anyway, it is going to be, I believe, at least in the 30s and
Beautiful.
Probably colder than that.
Beautiful.
It is going to be pond hockey weather.
You'll love it when the goalies have to wear little beanies over their masks.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yes. And Jeff will be sitting out in all of that.
Not quite
including-
the cheapest seats, but close to it.
Yeah. When you say cheap, you don't mean price-wise, because those were, even though they are the second level.
The second cheapest you can get, and they were still like $100.
What were the other ones? The other ones were in the
95.
80s. I heard someone
90,
saying
something
the
like that.
cheapest tickets that are available right now are $130.
Ooh.
If anyone wants to go and watch a game against the worst team in the Western Conference and the Colorado Avalanche. I believe the Kings are worst in the conference right now, or they were. I know they're worst in their division.
Be nice change of pace from the
And
last
of
out
course,
there.
now I say this,
Jinxed it.
and they're going to get smoked, and then I'm going to have to. So Jeff is going to be sitting with my future family, in all these seats, and a few more of our friends because we bought a ton of them, and I'm going to be on the field, doing 9 News at 5 and 9 News at 9 and 10, and we were informed by the NHL that we have to fill from 9 to 10:30 after the game. I believe NHL gives us, or NBC gives us, up to 9 o'clock. So we're hoping to do a whole lot of. It's going to be a whole lot more Avalanche on NBC than you typically get to see. Let's put it that way, because typically when these games are on the network, you don't even get a post-game show. You don't get a pregame show.
Cut right out.
In this case, you're getting a local pregame show from your local television station, and it's going to be pretty cool. Jake Schroeder joining us as well, and Jake is going to do digital for 9 News. We got him credentialed.
That's awesome.
Jake is not working for the Avalanche that night. Jake is taking over the 9 News Twitter account and going to tweet about the game, which we're really
Which is
excited about.
so great. I mean, like at the Air Force Academy, the stuff he does with veterans, I mean, that's perfect.
You think about the perspective he's going to have
yeah.
out there. It's going to be incredible. And we also, I know, are talking to a few people who have some military connections this week. I think Ian Cole's grandfather served. I think JT Comfer's grandfather served. And get this one, Jonas Donskoy, or Janis Donskoy, whatever you want to call him. In Finland, you are required to serve your military duty, and he's done it. Mikko Rantanen has not yet, and I don't know if he's deferring till down the road or what's
He can't
going
go
on.
home.
But through a conversation with the Avalanche, it's pretty cool that these guys have military backgrounds, and you imagine them at the biggest military school in Colorado with a gorgeous backdrop, with such a great tribute to America. It's going to be fun to watch.
Definitely.
I have something to tease.
Drum roll.
And I know that this show is released one day before that game, but I have been told that I get a one-on-one during our pregame coverage with the one and only NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman.
You've been plugging for that for months.
I've been trying to get him on this show. This may be a little bit too lowbrow for him, but we're going to get him on television. And I'm curious what you want me to ask him.
Send the questions.
I cannot ask him I feel like it's the wrong place. It would be better to have him in here in studio or on the phone on this show and ask him the question that I've always wanted to ask him. What is it like to present the Stanley Cup to a group of fans in a building that boo you?
I mean,
every single time.
He's almost embraced it, as he jokes about it. He when I brought this up before, but when Vegas won the West their first year, he brought that trophy out. They started booing. He just grabbed the mic. He's like, wow, you guys really are hockey fans. Like, he's sort of embraced that it's part of him now. Like, I don't know. You might be able to get away with it.
Is he getting?
I would definitely not make it the first thing you ask him, because if it does go badly, he'll walk off and you'll have to fill 4 minutes of airtime.
Is he getting more likable? Nice long pause. I love the long pause.
I'm hesitant to say yes, because I will never forgive him for
the lockout,
which I realize was not one person's decision. But he was the driving force behind some of the factors that the players' union would not accept. I'm 50-50. Like, I can't give you a straight answer on that one.
That's fair. Don't know. I don't know where I am either, because the game has changed a lot. A lot of things for the good. I know one thing I want to definitely talk to him about is player safety. I think that's an important thing that's had a few moments this season that needs a little bit of focus.
Definitely.
I just think that my job as a journalist is to hold powerful people accountable for things, and we may just do that.
Yeah,
I don't know, we'll see.
Go for it.
Hopefully his people don't listen to this podcast beforehand.
He gets pulled at the last minute. We'll know why.
Gary Bettman will not be doing an interview with 9 News today. No, we'll be nice to him.
Sorry,
And I'm excited to hear about the future of these games, because, it does seem like an endless portrait and landscape of what you could do with these outdoor games. But the question is, are they making revenue? Are they making money? I think they are.
Based on what the tickets cost, I would hope so.
I mean, do they have to crank up the ticket prices that much to make money on this? I mean, I can't imagine how much money the NHL spends.
Oh, just to build the rink.
To build an ice rink. Although they've had the benefit of the weather this time.
Yeah.
I mean, that week before the Coors Field game, it was not winter. It was.
And they had to have it set up for a full week before, because they had the college game.
Yeah.
So they had to keep that frozen for a week in the mid-60s. That can't be easy.
No. It's going to be interesting, and I hope you tune in. It'll be must-see TV before and after the game.
I'll have it streaming on the 9 News app on my phone.
I am hoping to God that they don't lose, because if they lose, that is going to be some darn depressing television to do.
For an hour and a half.
Because then they will be 0 for 2 in these outdoor games, and you kind of wonder if they should play them anymore. Although, I don't know. There's a chance that they get the Winter Classic next year in Minnesota, which would be cool.
That would be great.
And I wonder if they announce that at this game.
They might.
That would be cool. I don't know when they typically announce that. I never paid attention to it. But out of all of the opponents from Minnesota, that seems like a very good one.
We're definitely in that top tier, you'd think.
You'd think. Yeah. Well, hockey back in Denver. Which is nice, because for several weeks there, we hadn't had a hockey game at home since January 20th.
Ooh.
Martin Luther King Day against the Detroit Red Wings. The Avs returned last night, played the Ottawa Senators, beat them 3-0. So the episode that didn't get released, we did a little bit of talking about Philip Grubauer and his lack of consistency. I will say I would like to take that back and say I'm a lot like the Fire Bednar people, in that I shouldn't have criticized Philip Grubauer and let him get his groove back.
I mean, are we sure that episode didn't leak somewhere and it fired him up?
I don't know. Maybe it did.
Because right after we taped that, he went nuts.
And all of a sudden, he's 4 games. He has 3 goals against in 4 games.
Save percentage over
game.
97.
He's playing out of his mind. And but you got to remember, this was the Philip Grubauer that we saw last year around this time.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, Varley was gone, and Gruby was in the net all the time and leading them into the playoffs.
I mean, if he's a goalie that every year in mid to late January is just going to slump for 3 weeks and then rebound like that,
I'm fine with that.
As long as he rebounds every time, I'm okay.
Yeah. And Pavel Francouz played a pretty good game against Minnesota.
Yeah, he did. Definitely.
That was a bit of reckoning for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because that game against Minnesota on national TV, both of these were on national TV, and both of these were Pavel Francouz, which was nice, right? It was Francouz.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm
very tired right now. I've been working on some projects around here, and I'm like glued to coffee right now. But hockey has been back, and
fun.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 loss on that road trip.
I mean, anytime you can do that in any road trip is impressive.
And they got some real character-building wins in in that road trip. I thought the Columbus one was obviously the Minnesota one was big.
Yeah.
Because it's a division game, you get the points. Although Minnesota's bottom of the Central right now, but you had the Columbus game where you're playing a team that was playing really well. The Columbus game, they were standing them up at the blue line. They were standing up in the neutral zone. They were playing a real physical game. Not as physical as Minnesota, but it was still pretty physical. You could see that that's a good Eastern Conference team that's going to be tough in the playoffs at some point. And they're basically the same record as the Avs.
And you find a way to win it.
You did?
Like, that's what the good teams do.
See, when was the last time you remember the Avalanche coming from behind in the third period to win a game?
The narrative's always been the other way around.
Yeah.
No, and we... Yeah, I was joking with some of the people around the office that first game back then against Ottawa was the perfect sort of setup game. You know, you have a strong road trip. You come back first time at home against a team sort of bottom of the rankings. It's so easy to just get trapped in that. And they came out and they took care of business. And it's like, that's what you want to see.
Especially under the circumstances they had last night with Nazem Kadri out for weeks instead of days. Our source,
Dr.
Graywall on Twitter says he expects 4 to 6
if it's a high ankle sprain, it looks like.
Not an MCL.
There was he was saying, high ankle sprain, possibly MCL sprain when he first saw it. The fact that I would imagine, and I am as far from a doctor as you can get, but I would imagine if it was something with the knee, they wouldn't have let him come back out in that game.
No, they wouldn't.
And you do not take chances with that. If it's just, hey, my ankle's sore, you can do a quick check, make sure it's not broken. And it's like, oh, if you want to try, go ahead. You're not going to make it worse.
He came right back out and he skated right back off. But
exactly.
It was good to see him with that extra effort to get back out there. You could tell there's something different in these guys. They want to win.
Definitely.
They want this team to win. And I think that is the kind of driving force that's going to help them. Also, before we move on, we should say something about Jay Bouwmeester from St. Louis.
Yes.
In one of the most terrifying things that you can ever experience as a hockey club, Jay Bouwmeester last night, game against the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim, he passes out and kind of collapses on the bench. They say cardiac, right? Is that what the...
I haven't heard the final or the most recent.
I believe the
fits.
Blues said like a cardiac incident. And all I could think back to was Yuri Fisher.
Yeah.
Playing for the Detroit Red Wings and just passing out, having a cardiac episode on the bench. But
and hats off to the medical staff out there. They were out there immediately. And by all accounts, he was awake and talkative as they were getting him out. And the medical staff, you can't say enough about how well they acted there.
I want to play this too because some people noticed this. This is at Anaheim, and listen to the organist. Playing When the Blues Go Marching In, which is their goal song. As all of this is going on, you see guys like going skating over to other guys. I mean, this was just a moment where everybody kind of came together. It was cool to see.
And it's we talk about it. I know we tweeted out the other day. The NHL is a big family, and you have the organist up there probably thinking, there's nothing I can do up here, and he found something to do.
Yeah,
like some way to just show support.
If you don't, by the way, follow Organist Alert on Twitter. I recommend it. It's something Mark Castellano told us about in the first episode. It's where the organist, and that's where I found that tweet. Like the organists just do a lot of really cool stuff, both at baseball games and hockey games. It's cool. It's really cool. So I recommend you give that a follow. But scary moment with Jay Bouwmeester.
Wish him the best.
Yes, we do. We do.
A car just drove by out front ripping. That was impressive.
What? Was it just me shaking the table? Is that what that was? I don't know what that is.
We need a better studio.
We really do. At some point. I'm sure we'll get something at some point. Speaking of music with the organist thing, we're going to talk to Hampus Liedman coming up. He's the guy who did the Mikko Rantanen song. Mikko Rantanen. I said Mikko Rantanen. We'll talk to him next.
Coloradans are passionate about Colorado, and at 9 News, we love to hear all about it. Call, email, or find us on social media. 9 News listens.
are now the team to beat. Every team that comes to Denver will soon know defeat. With the best line in hockey, there's nothing you can do but stand around and watch as they score on you. Colorado Avalanche, the greatest team around. Colorado Avalanche, stand its glory.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
I like it. Hampus Liedman joining us in studio right now. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
You came a long way for this.
I sure did.
Where
Just for this, you know.
Just for this interview?
yeah,
Is that all you're
absolutely.
here
Yeah.
for?
Yeah.
Give me an idea of your travels over the last few days.
Well, I had to take the train to Copenhagen, which I was stuck in Malmö because the bridge was closed because there was a storm. So I was afraid I wasn't going to make my flight.
Oh,
but
jeez.
I eventually got over, and I took the flight from Copenhagen to London. And from there, I went from London to Denver, and now I'm here.
Did you join? Are you with the Eurolanche folks, or are you just? Kinda doing
No,
this on
I'm
your own?
not. I came here on my own.
So you're here all on your own.
I traveled on my own, but I'm meeting a bunch of people I know here.
So you'll hang out with some of them.
Yeah.
Give me the background for people who don't know how you started this. How did you get into writing songs about the Avalanche?
Oh, it was like a couple of years ago when the Avs were about to make the playoffs for the first time in a while, and Mikko, he was on a tear. He was scoring goals every other game, and it made me so happy. And that song just came to me in my head when he was scoring.
You were just sitting there going, Mikko, Rantanen.
Yeah.
I said, Mikko, Rantanen.
Yeah.
Are you a musical guy? Like, are you in a band, anything like that?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So all that stuff, there's a basis for it.
Yeah.
So you put that song on paper.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously record it.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
Well, I recorded it and shared it with some friends that I have, online friends. It's a big online community for the Avs. And it, at the beginning, got a couple of 100 views. I thought that was great. And everybody seemed to love it. And then when the Avs got out of the playoffs and the World Championship was, then it came up a little bit more. Like a lot of Finnish people found it. Like 500 more, and all right, that was fun. Then half a year later, they showed it on Altitude, and then it just exploded.
Really? So that was the season before the previous season, right? So it would have been the first playoff year of recent memory? Like,
yeah, that I recorded it, yes.
Gotcha. So and then Altitude plays it, and all of a sudden, who do you hear from? Like, who's reaching out to you?
Well, I don't really know.
Just everybody
I can't
was.
remember.
Do you remember? I remember hearing it at a couple of games.
I think it was played on one game right after they had showed it on Altitude, and he was selected first star a couple of games later, and they played it during his whole skate there.
That's great. So you write the Mikko Rantanen song, and that goes nuts, and everybody loves it. Then what? You decided to do another one, huh?
Yeah, I had it. I was working it was so much fun making that silly little song, and with the people's reaction, I just wanted to make another one, and it happened to be Landeskog then, and I just tried to release it. I was gonna release it later, like when the playoffs started, but then he came back from injury, and I thought this is the perfect time to release it.
Do you know what the reaction to that was? You heard him talking about it on this show, right?
Yeah, sure.
What did you think when you heard him actually addressing that song?
Oh, I thought it was really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you heard from Mikko at all?
No, I know when Altitude. Now I remember when I knew they were gonna show it and stuff, because they posted it first on Twitter. Like, check out this song, and then they had I think it was Keith in the locker room, like showing it to Mikko, and Mikko was like, "What's this? What's this?"
He should use it as a ringtone.
Yeah.
It's a great ring because it was like 30 seconds long.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you plan on releasing a full studio cut of that song, like an extended cut?
I've thought about it, but I don't know. I don't have anything more for it right now. Maybe one day.
take me through this latest song that you created. You've really outdone yourself. The other two were just you solo on the track, but these are this new song that we just heard at the top of this segment here is something completely different.
Yeah, this is more of a full production. The production value just went up way from what I was expecting as well. So I basically had a melody for the chorus, and I've been playing around with it and thought, right, yeah, this is gonna be the Colorado Avalanche song. And so I was about to start to record it, and I thought, this is a perfect song to like ask people to join in the chorus and just sing along. So I posted that on Reddit, in the Colorado Avalanche subreddit, and I got a lot of response of people wanting to play on it. Like guys offering, yeah, sure, I'll do the drums for you.
Really?
Yeah, so there was actually a guy from Denver who recorded it in a studio, live drums for me, for free. His name is James Strosall, and he's got a production, Pristine Beats. Really great guy to work with as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this was like a worldwide like collaboration here.
It ended up that way, yeah. And the guitars were recorded at my dad's studio at his home, because he can record with the actual amps and stuff, while at home I just do plugins in the computer. So that added another layer to it. And then I had a bunch of people joining then to sing along. And then I also have a friend in France, of all places, that mastered it for me.
So we've had contributions, Sweden, right?
Yeah,
France,
yeah,
Denver,
yeah.
and then how many voices did you get?
I think it's 6 different voices.
I saw you posted a video of your dad singing.
Yeah, my dad sang along with it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I also made my girlfriend sing along.
Nice.
And the guy who played drums also sang along on it, and a friend of his. And your latest guest, Grant Berry, is also on it.
Oh, Grant's on there
Yeah.
too? Really?
I saw that you met up with him before the game.
Yeah, sure. I met him yesterday. He bought me a beer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, do you have plans to meet with any of these folks while you're here, like James and?
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how does a guy from Sweden become a fan of this team?
Well, he's 8 or 9 years old, and he discovers who Peter Forsberg is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foppa.
That
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we delve further into that, I have to ask you: do you watch this very odd Peter Forsberg reality show in Sweden that we've seen?
Oh, no, I don't really
What
know.
is it? It's called Peter.
I don't know. He's on so many different things all the time.
So he's just all over television. Then.
Yeah. He sure is all this competitive sports things with old sport people.
That's.
I'm moving to Europe.
Yeah, I know.
This.
Yeah.
This seems like it would go crazy if you put it on television here. I've watched just a few clips. The one guy who has a picture of the Avs guy relieving himself on a Red Wings logo. I forget what his that's his Twitter handle.
Oh yeah.
And he posts these videos. I'm pretty sure he just makes compilations of these things. And one of them is Peter Forsberg just like with a basketball between his legs on a swing and trying to like throw the basketball into a hoop. It's the oddest thing I think I've ever seen. And then it obviously started with the sliding the beer steins across the table. I don't know. I'm fascinated by that. It's good to know that you're like not everyone there is watching this.
No.
But, yeah.
I don't watch a lot of television.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
probably
partially
it.
because to watch these games, you probably have to be up at like 4 a.m, something like that. What time do the games come on when you're back home?
Oh yeah, it's anywhere between like 2 and 4. Not often. It's more the West Coast games are that late. But yeah.
How do you manage that in your schedule?
Well, I only in the weekends, I tell you. A bit more during playoffs than I have found myself going to bed at like 6 or 7, so I can get up at 2 or 3 and watch some before I go to work.
That's dedication.
How do you get it? Do you get it through a streaming service or how
We have a Viaplay. It's a big company that they have the rights to the NHL games in Sweden.
Oh, cool. So you can watch any of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you watch a lot of other teams too, or is it mostly just the Avs?
No, I don't care much for other teams.
Oh, wow. Who's your favorite player right now?
Well, it's hard not to say Mikko.
partially because of the song.
Yeah.
And you got to see a
or,
hell
or,
of a...
or is it the other way around? I made a song because I like Miko.
Could be.
Yeah.
I'll let you answer that question
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're the guy who made the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also starting to fall a bit in love with Cade Makar.
I think everybody is.
Yeah.
He's just so smooth and
Yeah.
just so good. I mean, the way he sneaks past and moves down into the zone, it's just impressive.
He does so many unexpected things all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's scary to think it's just his first year.
Yeah.
It's
Ooh.
yeah, absolutely. So you're here.
Mhm.
What are your plans while you're here?
Well, my plans are mostly centered around going to games. Tomorrow I'm with some friends going over to Red Rocks. But other than that, I'm pretty casual. Like, I don't plan much ahead. Just see what comes along.
There you go. Is this your first time in Denver, or you've been here before?
This is my first time in America.
First time in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it has to be a fascinating experience. So you've never
Absolutely.
seen this team play before, or
Yes,
did you?
I have in Stockholm
In
a couple of
that's
years
right.
ago at the Global Series.
Are you going to try to go to the Global Series next year too?
Maybe.
Yeah. Is that a hike for you? I don't know my geography over there very well.
Well, it's probably just a 2-hour flight or something.
That's not too bad.
No, but there it becomes expensive.
Yeah,
You gotta
it's true.
stay somewhere and
Yeah.
get there and pay the tickets for the games, and
Yeah.
it adds up.
I know you just got here,
Mhm.
but what's your favorite part of being here so far, other than the games, obviously?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
People, the fans are so friendly, are so nice. Like some people, I don't know if you saw the warm-ups yesterday.
I didn't get there in time. No.
No, but they played my song right before the warm-ups and showed me on the Jumbotron. So after that, I had a couple of guys just come up to me. Oh, so you're in Jumbotron, singing along to the song.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
That's cool. Did you get to meet any of the players or anything like that?
No, I did not
But
yet.
you got to meet Lauren Jabara.
I sure did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she came and interviewed you.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the game, and my fiance texted me and said, "Oh my God, they just talked to Hampus, the Go Avs Go guy.
I was sitting at
Yeah.
my desk out in the newsroom and it popped up. I'm like, wait a minute.
We're interviewing him tomorrow."
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were able to come in.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you were able to do this. What do you? So, how long did you say you were here?
I'm here until next Friday, so I'm
Okay.
catching all the games.
So you've got last night, the Capitals, and then you're going to Stadium Series.
I am.
Be prepared for a little bit of traffic on I-25.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be a little messy.
Leave early.
Yeah, you'll have a blast, and
Yeah.
we're so glad you could come in and you could talk about it. If people want to find you, how do they find you?
Well, on YouTube, just Hampus Lidman, or
L.I.
search for the
Liedman,
yes, or just search for the Colorado Avalanche song, and I assume that will come up first.
right? And or Mikko Rantanen song,
Absolutely. Yeah.
or Gabriel Landeskog song.
Yeah.
We'll tweet those out too.
Hampus, you are a gentleman and you are a scholar. Thank you so much for coming in, and we hope you enjoy your trip here.
I sure will.
All right, have a good one. We'll be right back.
Colorado is a sports state. The 9 News app puts all of our great stories in one place. From the pros to the preps, you'll find it all. Plus the latest Broncos update from insider Mike Quist. The 9 News app, download it today.
When deception and dishonesty become the norm, integrity means doing the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. If you've been wronged or see wrongdoing, email us at blowthewhistle@9news.com.
It's that time of the show. Time when we loosen our ties, listen to a little bossa nova music.
I keep meaning to ask this. How did we find this song?
I think I said to you I wanted elevator music,
That might have been about it.
which I mean, this is 100% elevator music.
Like every week I keep hearing, I'm like, how did we stumble on this?
It's great.
Oh, it's perfect.
It has nothing to do with hockey at all, too.
Not even a little.
No. You've got the feedback today because we didn't have a lot because we didn't have a show last week.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
We did get some feedback as the Ottawa game. You took Lawrence Gibbs, who's one of our directors here.
I traded one groomsman for the other groomsman.
This is Lawrence's first game of the season, isn't it?
Yeah. And Lawrence actually, he told me last night, he goes, I could do another one of these.
Nice.
I think he should.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good time. we did get some feedback there. The illustrious Tom Green, who we've had on the show, mocking our seats. It's like, is that a hockey game going on down there?
Yeah, it's almost impossible to see.
But hey, it's fun.
Shout out to the beer vendor who recognized the show, which was pretty cool last night.
Give you a discount?
By the way, this is overmodulating too, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, if you notice that the Colorado Avalanche song sounded a little off, we seem to be having some weird glitch that some of the music is.
It's my phone.
Go figure.
It's my phone. I need to get
because we play all of our audio files out of Steve's cell phone.
Something better than an iPhone 4. Yeah. No, it's like a 6 or something.
Still.
iPhone 1.
It's an original.
I'm actually playing this on my iPod, my MP3, my Zune.
I don't even have a joke to make about that because I don't even know how those work.
Anything else?
We did have earlier today Vanessa Jones talking about. We had a conversation in an earlier show about playoff beards.
Oh yeah.
And she brought up that the Avs in particular, at least, weren't really doing playoff beards.
They're doing a lot of year-round beards.
They are.
Did you see, by the way, that Sammy Gerard shaved that creepy mustache? That
did he finally?
He did.
Oh, thank God. That was,
It was getting a little, like, Barbario's is the thing of legend.
Oh, yeah.
But Sam kind of had that, like weird, kind of thin mustache.
Know if you can pull it off, and
it wasn't working. Yeah, anyway.
But she brought up the story of Brent Severin back in the day. I think he was with the Avs, I want to say 96, 97, somewhere in that range, defenseman. And he made a point, he's like, stopped shaving until he could actually score a goal, and apparently had a very significant beard before he finally broke that streak.
I'm trying to figure out, and I don't want to like knock on the table, right? Because I don't want to jinx the playoffs. But I've got the beard now. Do I shave it off and grow a new one?
I feel like you need to, if you're going to do the inverse playoff beard, you have to like trim it a little bit more every day so it gets gradually shorter.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I thought of that a few years ago, but I refused to do that because it takes too long to grow back.
Then I'm going to look super creepy toward the end.
Well,
right?
that's sort of the trick, is to see how long it takes before management steps in and asks what you're doing.
Already, yeah. Someone.
The rest of us bet on this.
Someone from a much higher office is going to be like, Steve, you look like you kind of let yourself go there a little bit. I don't know. I was thinking about grow a new one.
Yeah.
Shave it off, just let it come back.
That could work.
But I run the risk if I shave it off.
Will they not let you?
Will they say like, wow, that looks pretty good. We should make him not have a beard anymore. I don't know.
And if you could do it the way longtime 9 News sports anchor Drew Soicher would do it, he'd come back from vacation with a beard, and during his first show, every time they'd go to a soundbite, he would shave a bit of it off on the desk so that when you'd come back, he'd have a different beard style.
He'd have like half of a beard on one side, and then he had that's where he made the Drew Manchu famous.
Yep.
Do you remember the Drew Manchu?
Bring that method back. Anchor a show, every commercial, shave a bit more of the beard.
Drew got away with a lot of stuff here.
He really did.
And I love it. I love it. I miss him for that.
Yeah.
But,
we should have him on.
We should see if Rod can get away with it. Rod can't get away with a beard because Rod can't grow a beard.
And he'll be the first to admit it.
What if Rod listens and has heard the subtle jabs and subtle like chirps that we've had at Rod?
All in good fun. But I imagine.
Oh, I love Rod.
I imagine he doesn't, because he probably would have brought it up by now.
He's one of my favorite people because all we do is chirp each other.
He passively aggressively would have brought it up by now.
Yeah. Well, he's passive aggressively brought up several times that he hasn't been on the show yet. And I feel like we should make him like the Matt Damon of the Jimmy Kimmel show. Like, Matt Damon, I'm sorry we ran out of time for you, and just do that with Roddy.
It's kind of like our open where we keep saying we're in the conference room. Like, it started as a legit oversight, and now it's just become part of like the lore around
Let's do this. Let's see if we can go 100 episodes before having Rod on the show.
He can be our very special guest for episode 100.
It's 2 years into the show, and the sports director hasn't been on it. I mean, we've had Ariel, who's the beat reporter for the Avs. She's been here, at that point, she'd been here like 3 months or something. Rod's been here for 20 years.
We had Johnny on our second show, who's been part of the sports department for 20 plus
Johnny has
years.
been here for a very, very long time. But I don't know. I think it would be funny. We ran out of time for Rod Mackey today. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
We ran out of time for Rod. Our apologies to Rod Mackey.
We'll get you next time. We'll make it work.
Yeah, we will. So this episode is released. They've got the outdoor game and a game on a Monday and a game on a Wednesday. Tampa Bay and New York. I don't know which one's which. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Or which New York team.
It's Islanders. I do know that
from
sure.
the cheap seats. Your number one source for all Avs information.
Semi and
They play someone from out east. I don't know.
Hey, one of them's on my birthday. It's
Oh.
on February 17th. I'm going to go enjoy that game.
There you
That'll be
go.
fun. So, thank you for listening. We'll see you at the Stadium Series game.
No matter where you sit, there's one of us everywhere.
I'm Steve Stager at Steve Stager. He's Jeff Sawtell at fake_Dante. The show's at 9 Cheap Seats, or you can email cheapseats@9news.com. We will see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Steve Stager and Jeff Sawtell, who have absolutely no business covering sports at all. They're just fans. You can tell them how wrong they are by tweeting at the show at 9cheapseats or email cheapseats@9news.com.